Hello friends, James Stevenson back with another fresh episode of James and Loki's Gems of the Week, the weekly subscriber exclusive episode in which Loki and I go back through all the tweets that we liked over the previous week and talk about why we like them. Without further ado, let's jump right into the content for this week. Picking up where we left off last week with the last tweet that I liked from Elon Musk coming soon, to Adrian Dittman's question about the Twitter app in car. So in the media control unit, a dedicated X app has been long overdue for a long time. We've got earnings this week. Let's talk about earnings after we get to earnings day, I guess. Uh, let's see here. Mayor Tucker on April 21st tweeted, "Why not instead try a mass advertising and educational campaign? It would cost less than price cuts. People are still widely unaware of the benefits of Tesla ownership," replying to Elon Musk. In this thread that I'm not going to read you all of, Elon said, "Other cars change prices constantly, and often by wide margins via dealer markups and manufacturer/dealer incentives. Only a fool thinks the MSRP is the real price. Tesla prices must change frequently in order to match production with demand." Okay, but if there were a backlog that were 6 months long, Tesla wouldn't have to change prices frequently. They would just have to produce the cars and ship them to happy new owners, is the point Mayor Tucker was making here. 447 other people agreed with besides me. Here's one from the Short Shorts historian at Tesla Historian. This day in Tesla Q history, "I've waited for the so-called fraud to be exposed for 5 years now. With Tesla Charts, back when Tesla Charts was still sending out tweets 5 years ago. This is a test of wills. Time to turn the FUD up to 11. The fraud will be exposed. Hashtag LFG, hashtag free ska." Was he upset that someone had imprisoned ska music? No. This is Skabushka with 3 O's, the hater who was stalking Tesla employees at the Fremont factory, trying to run people off the road, etc. We got a hashtag Tesla Q here from him on the 21st of April 2019, way back here. And you can see what has happened to the stock price since. He doesn't tweet much anymore. Here's another one. 6 years ago, if only we could have done some market research before this, showing that there is no mass market for $50,000 plus sedans, LOL. With the chart here showing Ford Fusion, Nissan Sentra, Nissan Altima, Toyota Corolla, Honda Accord, Honda Civic, Toyota Camry. Model 3 is probably outselling all of, or most of these vehicles now. I haven't looked at it recently, but the chart shows Tesla Model 3 and Y deliveries. They were up a lot in Q2. I guess they were in the middle of Q2 and Tesla charts didn't know that yet, relative to Q1. And then look at Q3 and Q4. This is when I got my Model 3, December of 2018. I was part of that stack. This was the terrible Q1 quarter when Tesla shipped a lot of vehicles to Europe but didn't get them delivered in time by the end of the quarter. And then a whole lot of records since then for Model 3 and Y. Now up over 400,000 deliveries per quarter, most quarters, not in Q1 of 2024, but most quarters recently. And it'll be over that number again later this year. Here's one from Elon Musk, maybe, replying to Alex A. Voigt at Alex_A. Voigt on X. "Florida could be among the first U.S. states where Tesla introduces unattended FSD at level 4, as no regulatory hurdles or permits are required there. Given the rapid progress of FSD, an introduction of FSD at SAE level 4 with passenger in the driver's seat but unsupervised is, in my humble opinion, likely by the end of the year." retweeting Nicholas Gibbs here at Nick Gibbs IAG. For those who think regulators are the limiting factor to Tesla deploying autonomous vehicles, please update your biological neural nets with the Florida law for AVs. So yeah, it's legal in Florida, and people do test autonomous vehicles not far from where I live. So the maybe here from Elon Musk should not be misinterpreted to mean definitely, because he would have said something that's more in the affirmative than maybe if he were more certain it's going to happen than a maybe. But encouraging news, anyhow, from there. Enough to give it a like, along with 2,100 other folks. Here's a tweet from Tesla that I like. Tesla exists to accelerate the world's transition to sustainable energy. Thank you to our owners, employees, and advocates for supporting us in our mission. Happy Earth Day. Earth Day was April 22nd, as it is every year. Here's one from Diana at 99_Colorado, who I scared the daylights out of when I was standing in the kitchen of her Airbnb in Austin when she returned back from the after-party event. Before I left to go to that same after-party event, Musk Stay Calm, Mark Anthony, had invited me over to rest for a while because I was dead tired, having walked 10 miles earlier that day, including at a couple of airports and all over the Tesla factory, which is warm. If you're on the Cybertruck line, it's not very air-conditioned. It's okay. I don't want you to think that it's like a sauna or anything, but it was a lot of activity. It was a lot more activity for me than I'm used to. Anyhow. Diana says, okay, let's all be hoping that Elon Musk is in What's Up Frank's DMs right now. So I don't know What's Up Frank's as well as I should like. I've seen his tweets over the years and liked them. I know some of the folks in the Tesla community know him better than I do. But this screenshot says exactly the ads were far too generic. Could have been any car. What's Up Frank said maybe hire me with a spec ad that he had put together in his free time that Elon Musk said nice to, which is good. Thanks, love to be on the team. Keep making these. Let's cut out the ad agency middlemen and save Tesla money. So, hey, who could be against that? This is a funny video. If you haven't seen it before, it's not right here for me to play you, but good stuff there from What's Up Franks. Here's one from Phi Beta Kitten. Mrs. James Dauma, tweeting, James Dauma and I listened to this on our drive this morning. James, is it okay if I listen to James Stevenson? Me, yes, honey. So I think I was the only person to reply here, saying adorable. I was busy Googling photos of weird birds and Klaus Kinski anyway. Should I ask who Klaus Kinski is? I guess he's that guy. He's a German actor. So she put together lots and lots of comparisons of Klaus Kinski to birds. All right, here he is as Nosferatu, clearly. Some of these are really funny. But yeah, there you go. Pretty funny stuff she put together. You would think that she found those in a listicle, but no. Original composition. All right, so I will back out of here and keep going. That was a reply to last week's James and Loki's Gems of the Week. Here's one from Elon Musk. Tesla is the lowest cost car to maintain, with a screenshot of a graphic visualization produced by Consumer Reports. Not always in Tesla's corner, Consumer Reports, but in this case, Tesla's survey says are the least expensive kind of vehicle you can buy. There's no other kind of vehicle less expensive to maintain than a Tesla. I'm shocked to see Buick in second place. How did Buick get here? I mean, they're not very close. There's a pretty big gap between Tesla and the second place competitor. Not quite. The competition needs a telescope to see us, but definitely less. With a 6 to 10 year cost of ownership of $3,455 on average, with a 1 to 5 year cost of only $580. So bringing the total over 10 years to barely over $4,000. With Mercedes-Benz, Porsche, and Land Rover owners paying the most for their stupid cars. Uh, sorry if you're a big fan of those brands and are somehow watching my video right now. But that's my opinion on the topic. Here's one from Sasha Yanshin. My Jeep has a level 5 autonomous driving system. If you place a brick on the gas pedal and stick through the steering wheel, the Jeep drives itself with no human input. 100% of the time, it works every time. And the Anchorman reference there. Only works in a straight line, only up to 20 miles per hour, only on an empty highway, only in daylight, no rain, no cops, enough runoff space if I can't get the stick out of the steering wheel in time. Warning, disengagement of this level 5 system may lead to stubbed toes. That was pretty funny. Here's one from Aeon at AEONDE on X. Jason Camisa's summary, annoyingly, the Tesla Model 3 performance is spectacular, with an infix I will not utter. A few more quotes. These seats are fantastic. Rides like $1,000,000. On rough roads, genuinely spectacular. What about body control? Spectacular. The overall interior upgrades just make it a nicer car now. Still the best infotainment system in the world. The worst part is the lack of turn signal stalks, which people will not be using for that many more years, which is the reason why Tesla has removed them. You're not going to be making the turn signals. Your car will be making the turn signals for you. Mine already does. With a passenger 88% charge and AC on, I average 2.9 seconds to 60 miles per hour using a Draghi, which is a device that tells you what your 0 to 60 time is. If you're the kind of person who wants to know what your 0 to 60 time is. With the average of both directions on a slight incline. I guess one was slightly uphill, and then they went back down the same slope and averaged the two together. In contrast to the old model, power does not relent. It just doesn't stop pulling till well over school zone speeds. At highway and highway overtaking speeds, it is wow. Not plaid fast, but genuinely fast. Completely nailed it. There is no longer a discussion. The everyday enthusiast car has been defined by the Tesla Model 3 performance. I don't know. It's very upsetting. So this is a guy who does not want to hand the title to Tesla for best sports car. He's a gearhead from way back, an auto journalist, an award-winning auto journalist, I should prefix. Nope. Jason Camisa knows a lot about cars and isn't very enthusiastic about having to praise Tesla this much, but he can't honestly say otherwise, having spent time with the new Model 3 Performance Tesla just released last week. Note, he didn't know the pricing yet and was just told under $60K. Feel free to factor the actually $53K minus tax credits too, so you can get $7,500 off your Model 3 Performance at that price, I think. Don't quote me on that. I'm not a tax advisor or anything, and you have to qualify for the discount, but I think you have to earn a lot of money to not qualify, in which case probably the $7,500 is not that big of a deal breaker for you. Here's one from Kuma at Kuma no Ashi. I'm going to go with that. Similarly, any payout for Tornetto's legal fees should be weighted by the percentage of total shares that his 9 shares represent. So, we can take that ridiculous request for $6 billion and round it down to something like $14. What are we talking about here? Well, it's my tweet that got 1,600 likes. For every Tesla shareholder who votes no to honoring Elon Musk's 2018 CEO compensation agreement, Tesla should have first right of refusal on the sale of their shares. Tesla should be able to rescind their gains, buy their shares back at the same price Tesla closed at the day the plan went into effect, which was a split adjusted $21.102 per share. That would be fair to say, hey, you don't think Elon Musk deserves any compensation since March 21st, 2018? Okay, we will restore your financial arrangement to its state as of that day, and you can get what you would have gotten if you had sold your shares that day instead of agreeing to pay Elon Musk and then changing your mind about it 6 years later. I made a separate video about that. It gets me fired up every time I think about that topic. It's so obviously unfair to vote no on restoring Elon's pay package. Here's one from Tesla Doc at TrutMD. That's for a Model Y specifically, not for the next generation car. Replying to Tomer HaKohen, everyone missed this, 4 people max, on the screenshots in the investor letter that came out. Hashtag Tesla, Tesla Robotaxi D106. So what they're looking at here is the screenshot of what a future Tesla network or Tesla app robotaxi service graphical user interface might look like. It might just show a map on it with the Teslas that are available to you, where you are, and what route they're going to take to get to you, so you can tell how far away they are, etc. Excuse me. So you can see stuff like 3 minutes away. It's going to be a Model Y that comes to pick you up, and there are 4 passengers max for this vehicle, so be sure you don't have more than 4 people wanting to ride in this Model Y. So if you've got a 5-seat Model Y, maybe you don't want to guarantee that 5 people are going to be able to fit, because it could be the starting offensive line for the Las Vegas Raiders, and then you'd be in a lot of trouble trying to fit them all into a 5-seat Model Y. So that's what the 4 passengers max business is about over here. If you wanted to seat 6 passengers, you'd have to wait for a Model X to be available. Or maybe Tesla will have a van model one day. Who knows? That's what that business was about that I gave a like. Here's one from Warren Redlex. Seems fair, retweeting that tweet that we just saw already. Here's one from Rob Maurer, replying to Martin Viecha. We are lucky to have had, well, let me scroll on up here. Well, I guess I'll click through here and then scroll up to show you Martin Viecha's farewell address. It is sad to see Martin Viecha go, because I sure enjoyed every interaction I ever had with the man. Seems like the nicest guy you could ask for in a role like investor relations. Folks, today was my final earnings call with Tesla. He posted to X. About a month ago, I spoke with Elon and Vaibhav, being Vaibhav Taneja, Tesla's CFO, to announce that I'm going to be retiring from the world of investor relations and moving on. I'll be helping out for another couple of months or so to make sure that there's a smooth transition. Working for Tesla for the past 7 years has been the greatest privilege of my professional life. Being able to watch Tesla from the inside since the early days of Model 3 production hell, watching it transition from day-to-day survival to a company that it is today, has felt more than surreal. You might have guessed that it's been a crazy ride, and it surely was. The memories will stay with me forever. I'm thankful to all my colleagues who taught me about manufacturing, batteries, FSD, AI, motors, supercharging, software, vehicle architecture, and design, the lot. Being able to call execs who I consider to be world-class and learn from them was my favorite part of this job. I'm thankful to Elon and the board for giving me this opportunity and for actively seeking feedback about investors, about the industry, about what could be improved. I always felt a lot of freedom to work on projects that I thought made the most sense. I always voiced views and opinions of the shareholder community, the good and the bad, unfiltered, with key stakeholders at Tesla, as I believe this feedback loop is critical, a critical component for success of any company. I'm especially excited about how Tesla's relationship with retail shareholders has evolved. It's super hard to figure out retail shareholder engagement since there are millions of you, but I think we move things in the right direction, enabling the Say platform for earnings call Q&A, doing random drawings for various events, and even early Cybertruck delivery for long-term shareholders. As you can imagine, this has been a super hard decision. I'll continue to watch Tesla as a supporter and a shareholder for years to come. But now, after a 7-year sprint, it's time to take a break and spend a lot of time with my family. Love you all, Martin. I replied, I swear I didn't even know about that weird rule that you had to resign if you ever met a retail investor exactly the same height, using the opportunity to break out my photo that K10, Christian Netton, took for me, that I posted at Cybertruck First Deliveries Day when I met Martin and K10 and a whole bunch of other great folks. And here's that tweet from Rob that we liked. Like, I couldn't have liked all of the great replies to Martin Viecha because there were way too many of them. This one, very short and sweet, from Rob Maurer. We are lucky to have had someone who cared so much about everyone in the Tesla community during such a transformational period. Thanks for everything, Martin. You will be greatly missed. Most of the thank yous were straightforward shots like Rob's. So I wanted to lighten the mood a bit with my take there. All right, let's see what's next on the list of things that I liked. Well, we just saw those two tweets. Let's take a look at this one next. From Nick Cruz Patane, craziest fact of the day, the new Model 3 Performance is cheaper than Model 3 LR due to it being eligible, if I can read, for the $7,500 POI tax credit. Insane. Wow. Model 3 Performance cheaper than Model 3 LR if you're in the US, I guess. So one of these has a battery pack that's eligible for the tax credit and the other one does not. So that's what's going on there. Crazy, right? Next, a tweet from Elon Musk. Model 3 is quicker than a Porsche 911. New Model 3 Performance launching today. So 0 to 60, 2.9 seconds. 510 horsepower. 741 Newton meters of torque at the wheels. 163 miles per hour top speed. So you can read all the great stats here. Pirelli P0 tires. Oh, they give you 4 tires. That's great that you get 4 tires with this Model 3 now. So, why do they have to say 4 tires? Oh, maybe they're Pirelli PZ4. Pirelli, where is it? Pirelli P04. All right, so maybe that's the name of the tire. Maybe it's a subtle consumer behavior exploit on the part of Pirelli, trying to get you to buy 4 of them at a time. Put the word 4 in the product's title. Here's a tweet from Elon Alerts, at Elon_alerts. Elon Musk liked a post from James Stevenson. Which one? It's my animated chart of Tesla's cumulative net income, which I will play for you now. For a long time, Tesla lost money. Tesla does not lose money anymore. Tesla has been making money at quite the clip, off the charts. Money way up here. Almost $30 billion positive now. It only got as bad as negative $6 billion at the worst, the lowest point back in 2018, I guess. Next, a tweet from Matt Smith that I liked. I'm genuinely sad for people who panic sold. I believe Tesla has the ability to create generational wealth for people, but managing the emotional highs and lows is part of the journey, and we're not out of the woods yet. This won't be a straight shot up from here because investing isn't easy. Yeah, so if you look back over the long history of Tesla's share price, you can, I mean, you would be able to identify less than a year worth of time periods that accounted for all of the share price appreciation to the current, $550 million billion, if I can articulate my thoughts clearly. So yeah, there have been these periods where the stock traded sideways for years and years and years, and that's been most of Tesla's history, punctuated by very brief re-rating periods where the stock price goes up by a lot and then takes a breather for a few years at that level. That's how Tesla has grown, not steadily and predictably. There have been a lot of drawdowns in Tesla's history of pretty significant percentage, including the one we're in now. Here's one from Chris Dungeon. Here's an idea. Elon Musk, get in touch with Morgan Freeman and have him narrate a new Tesla commercial. Screenshot here showing Elon Musk saying Morgan Freeman is awesome, which he is. And he's a huge fan of Elon Musk, so it seems like they should be able to come to terms on a deal to have him be a commercial narrator for Tesla. That would be great. Here's one from First Principal Investor, not CFA, at 1ST Principal INV on X. Treasuries, as always. What's he replying to here? Well, it's a question from Tesla Yoda at Tesla Yoda. Hey, James Stevenson, what is the cash flows from investing activities? Purchases of investments, $6,622,000,000 on the 10Q. So this is the balance sheet just telling you, hey, the money isn't all in cash. Some of the money is in U.S. Treasury bonds, Treasury bills, Treasury notes, whatever it is that Tesla purchased. That may as well be cash. It's just cash that bears interest, right? So instead of throwing billions of dollars into a checking account or whatever that might bear 0.25% interest, you put it into treasuries, and then you get a really decent rate of return, sometimes, 5% or so, guaranteed by the federal government. So you're going to get your money back. And you can't think of a more liquid investment being something that, meaning an investment convertible back into cash as rapidly as U.S. Treasury bonds. You will always be able to find a buyer for treasuries. Night or day, 24/7, there's going to be somebody willing to buy treasuries off you because the payment is guaranteed. Here's one from Rob Maurer at Tesla Podcast. So you just copy and pasted all the notes I took and then posted them without credit? Cool. With the Andy Samberg gif there. Replying to this knucklehead, build wealth to buy freedom at WealthXFreedom, who just ripped off Rob Maurer. He sent that comment before this community note landed. These notes were largely copied from Tesla Podcast and the notes he created on the earnings live stream at the link below. So watch the video with Rob Maurer and his other earnings coverage, which is always great. I was very happy to see Rob Maurer back doing earnings coverage, even though he has stopped producing videos daily for the Tesla Daily YouTube channel. He joked about that, so it's okay for me to be joking about it. Here's one from WholeMars Catalog at WholeMarsBlog. Hard to think of a better candidate. Imagine if Rob Maurer is the new Tesla IR spokesperson. I don't know if he wants the job, but you got my vote, Rob Maurer. Jason DeBolt replying, Rob would be seriously next level as the Tesla IR spokesperson. He'd be exceptional at it. No argument from me. I can't think of a better candidate for the job. Martin Viecha is the next tweet that I liked here. Remember the EVs are too heavy criticism? Model 3 Performance and BMW M3, the BMW 3 Series luxury sports sedan, are actually on par with a comparison from Sawyer Merritt here of the specs between the BMW M3, $84,000, versus the Model 3 Performance, $53,000. So you can save yourself $31,000 buying a Model 3 Performance instead of a BMW M3. The 0 to 60 time will be better by half a second. The weight will be extremely comparable. There's a 44-pound difference between these two vehicles, which is less than the weight of any adult passenger you might seat in it. Here's the horsepower, BMW M3 503, Model 3 Performance, 510. You get 7 more horses out of your Model 3 Performance. Power type, BMW M3 gasoline, Model 3 Performance, electric. So if you leave either of these cars running in your garage, this one will kill you eventually with its poisonous emissions, and this one will not because it doesn't have any emissions. All right, so that was those tweets that I liked. Here's forgot one stat from Sawyer. Range, BMW M3, 343 miles, Model 3 Performance, 296. You get almost as much range out of the Model 3 as you get out of the BMW M3. Here was Marquez Brownlee's take on it at MKBHD, the premier reviewer of tech in the world, certainly on YouTube. The new Tesla Model 3 Performance 0 to 60 in 2.9 seconds, with some of the same stats we just saw. Sportier bucket-style seats. They look pretty sweet. New 20-inch forged wheels. Adaptive suspension, bigger brake pads. Starts at $53K in May. So there is a full video here. I watched this video. It's pretty great. So go check that out if that interests you. Here's one from Phil Rosen. I wrote about Tesla earnings this morning, and so did nearly every other financial reporter. To be sure, it's a big story that warrants widespread coverage. Elon Musk and his company are newsworthy. It's also true that the more coverage an event gets, the harder it is for any one angle to stand out, while still being even-handed and not clickbait. This is every reporter's headache, and every news outlet's dilemma. What can you say about something that's been hit from all sides that no one has said yet? The headlines I've read the last few days have been about how weak Tesla's first quarter earnings appear. I wanted to consider other angles. There's always multiple ways into a story. With that in mind, I reached out to S3 Partners to ask how investors betting against Tesla have fared, not only this year, but over the long run. It turns out Tesla short sellers have seen more than $52.5 billion in mark-to-market losses since the stock made its public debut in 2010. Ihor Dusanuski said. He is at IhorS3 on X. I found my unique data-driven angle. Betting against Elon can get expensive. That's what I wrote today in Opening Bell. So I'm not going to read you that article, but he did a pretty good job summarizing the article in that post from Phil Rosen, who used to work at Business Insider. So I said something snarky to him as a reply when he asked to interview me, and regretted doing that later. So I gave him a like and wanted to mention his good tweet from that article that I saw later. Having previously never really seen him before, and suspecting that he would be a journalist like any other, trying to look for a way to misquote me and make me sound differently than how you perceive me, having all the context for what I have to say. Here's one from Matt Smith. Once again, Loki is a dog. What do we have here? Well, it comes from James Catt at TeslaFanMTL originally. I'm thinking of sharing an observation that might piss some people off. What do I do? Share it, duh. Doesn't matter because FSD, bro. Matt Smith replied, you're an anonymous cat. I think you'll be fine. Ecopop at EcopopX replied, I honestly thought James had an account for his cat. I was looking for James Loki and realized, oh, it's just a cat. Loki is a dog. Yeah. I replied, there is a fan-created Loki Spot account, and Loki Spot replied with a heart and some puppy paws here. But yeah, Loki is a dog, not a cat. Funny. Here's one from Brian White. First one we've gotten from him so far this week. I think last week he had, the gold medal for most James likes. A car makes a statement about the person driving it. Sometimes that statement is, I'm bad with money. So here's the Marquez Brownlee retweet of Sawyer Merritt showing Mercedes officially unveiled its all-electric G-Class starting at an estimated $180,000. Don't do that, folks. You can almost get a Plaid Model S and a Plaid Model X for $180,000. Look, I know nobody buys G-Wagons for efficiency, but this has to be the least efficient set of new EV specs I've ever seen. Quad motors, but only 0 to 60 in 4.7 seconds. 116 kilowatt hour battery, but only 250 miles of range. Only 200 kilowatt max charging speed. Yeah, that is not what you want when you hand over $180,000 and get only one vehicle for that. You could buy 3 Teslas with $180,000 pretty easy. Good ones, including one of those Model 3 performances we were just talking about. Here's one from Sawyer Merritt. There are a ton of restrictions with this Mercedes Level 3 autonomous system. It only works on 0.2% of roads and can only be used on highways. If the car is traveling 40 miles per hour or slower at temps above 40 degrees Fahrenheit, you can't be the only car on the road. The weather must be good, no rain, must be daytime, and no construction zone. My understanding of this condition was there has to be a car in front of you in the same lane as you for it to follow, for it to function. And if that car turns off the road, it just stops working. It just hands control back to you. And if any of these criteria break, Tesla's FSD Supervised has none of these restrictions. You can use it on nearly any road in the US. You just need to lightly touch the steering wheel every 30 seconds. So FSD Supervised works in places like inside parking garages, in alleys that aren't even real streets, on unnamed roads. Tesla FSD is far, far more capable than the Mercedes quote-unquote Level 3 autonomous system. People get wrapped around the axle about the SAE levels, believing that every higher number means it performs more features than any previous lower number. The numbers are only about who's responsible in the event of an accident. That's all they're about. They don't have any criteria for how restrictive the conditions are for when you can use it, which Sawyer did a great job pointing out just there. Here's another one from First Principle Investor. The perks of being the first batch Tesla owners in Malaysia. Thanks, Tesla Malaysia, for the awesome private viewing session of Cybertruck. So, good stuff here. Taking Cybertruck on a world tour. A whole bunch of the Cybertrucks from Austin are becoming brand ambassadors for Tesla all around the world. There was one in Austria as well, which we'll get to before the end of this video. Here's one from Wes Anderson at AndersonWest5. Let's get the context here. How does a robotaxi charge itself? Wes Anderson replied, acquired Wiferion, a German wireless charging startup known for its inductive charging technology for industrial robots and electric vehicles. This acquisition was officially announced in August 2023, so Tesla is working on wireless charging solutions like a charging pad you could just park over if your battery pack had something to receive charge wirelessly. There were a bunch of replies here. I feel like I made a reply to this question, but I don't see it. So I'll just keep going. And maybe it'll crop up. Here's one from Eddie Yoon at Eddie Would Grow, internationally recognized expert and speaker on topics related to business and technology and disruption. James is a one-of-one truth teller and truth guardian, which was such a very nice thing for him to say. I gave that retweet a like here. I made a separate video about real Dan O'Dowd trying to snooker people into fearing Tesla FSD when they ought to be doing the opposite. Here's another one from Brian. Anyone calling James a half-wit is unserious to a degree that you really need to question everything they say. What's Dan's real motivation? I ask because it's clearly not about safety. Yeah, if you look at the data from NHTSA on FSD, it compares extremely favorably against anything else you would like to compare it to from that same report or from data of any credible source you would like to reference. The fatality rate on FSD is extremely low, far, far better. And this guy is trying he's fear-mongering. There isn't another word for it. He's spreading lies, half-truths, mistruths, and uncertainty and doubt about Tesla, trying to drive people to distrust Tesla safety when Tesla makes the safest cars in the world. Here's one from S.E. Robinson Jr. News. 334 megapacks spotted today at the Lathrop Megafactory today by MetGod. Only quibble with this tweet was Megafactory makes megapacks. You don't put an F in this word. Bradford Ferguson can explain to you why you should use megafactory instead of megafactory. That was a term he coined. I was jealous that he thought of that one first. Megafactory is obviously what you should call the place that makes megapacks. All right. Next tweet that I liked came from Elon Alerts at Elon_alerts. Elon Musk liked a post from James Stevenson. What was this one? Well, I wanted to wish a very happy 10th birthday to my eldest Tesla shares, now over 0.5 trillion. They grow up so fast, with a screenshot here showing kind of what I was talking about before, which is these consolidation periods last for a long time where the stock will hit a resistance level and fall back and hit a resistance level and fall back, and it just keeps doing that for a while. And then suddenly there will be a breakout, and that breakout will take it to a new and different level. And then maybe you beat that level for a while, but then you encounter resistance again and again and again before suddenly it'll break out of there. And then over a relatively short period of time, it'll grow to a completely different multiple. This is a logarithmic scale, so you can see what the multiples look like here instead of just the raw dollar amount, which can make small changes from low dollar amounts look less impressive than they actually were at the time. That's why you want to use the log scale when you look at stock charts. All right. Next, a tweet from Elon News and Interviews at Musk Breaking. I just followed that account this week. Here's a talk from Justine Musk, Elon's first wife. They bring light to the dark and they show us the universe. This clip is too long for me to show you during this video, but go check it out if you're interested in hearing some of Justine's recollections on life with Elon and how he is a different kind of cat from most people and how that's a good thing which you don't often hear ex-wives say about their ex-husbands, but in this video you can hear Justine say that. Here's one from Mr. Beardface at DSandHAAG. I don't know what this is, what this name is, but I'll scroll up. Oh, I didn't cover this reply in my video. So Mr. Beardface said all the is classic lying, but trying to find the words. Yeah, you can hear it in this video from Dan O'Dowd.
You even started looking at this technology and are so critical of it?
Well, no. I mean, a financial interest in a way. I have no, as you guys say, I have no financial interest in Tesla. I have no short positions, puts, anything like that. My entire financial interest in Tesla is I own 3 of them. I own 3 Teslas. I own 2 Roadsters and a Model S. There's no financial interest. If people say, you know, financial interest, can you say I'm a competitor? I help BMW, I help Daimler, all the big companies, GM. We supply software for those people to do it, and that gives it information.
Do you have?
Yeah, there you go. That's all the stuff you heard Mr. Beardface talking about. I replied in the dictionary under straight shooter, it should just say not this with the URL to this video. You know he is not shooting straight with you listening to him talk in that video. He's definitely trying to figure out how to lie to the American public on national television in that video clip. You can hear it. If you've heard a liar before, you know what lying sounds like, and it sounds like what you just heard Dan O'Dowd doing. Obviously, he's a competitor. Tesla is disrupting his company's business, which is writing old school software line by line. That's how he learned to write software in the 60s when he went to college, I guess. And he's having difficulty adapting to AI and neural nets and doesn't understand them or how to use them. So he's trying to cling on to the business he has with Tesla's competitors for as long as possible by mudslinging at Tesla and at FSD. This video that we're watching came from a post captioned by WholeMarsBlog catalog. Imagine if you could just say where you want to go and your car would take you there. This is what Tesla has actually developed and integrated into every car they sell today. Leases start at just $299 a month. And you can watch that video in 4K if you go to that link. Here's one from Elon Musk. Vast majority of people have no idea this works, replying to that video you just saw. Yuntasai at YUNTATSAI1 on X said, having a dinner with friends who work at other self-driving companies, I am the only one who arrived there with self-driving. Yuntasai works for Tesla and was driven to dinner by his Tesla to meet lots of other folks who work at competing self-driving companies, none of whom were able to let their car drive them to dinner. Here's one from Sawyer Merritt. Here's my full CNBC interview from tonight discussing Tesla, FSD, and China. Yeah, let's stop and listen to Sawyer Merritt talk about Tesla for a bit.
Full self-driving and how cool it is. It's not all there 100% yet, but it's getting there. And could Tesla, the company, do a better job, maybe even like TV ads, I know it's old school, of selling the public on exactly what this is? Yes or no?
Yeah, I think they could. Tesla owners are currently now driving roughly 15 million miles on average per day using FSD, which is roughly a 250% increase just from 3 months ago. So that's roughly 1 billion miles every 68 days. And it took Tesla around 3.5 years to hit its first billion miles. And on top of that, Tesla's compute capacity is, going to increase, I think, roughly 500% this year. And to me, how can any other automaker catch up to Tesla in terms of data gathering when they have a fleet of millions of vehicles already gathering billions of miles of data?
Well, and Tesla drivers, to your point, they're the proselytizers, right? They're the ones out there preaching to the masses. You got to try, even to other Tesla owners, try the FSD, or to non-Tesla owners, but there's only so much that they can do. I mean, they're going to touch 1 or 2 people at a time.
I think at the end of the day, butts and seats help sell Teslas. And I think the same can be said about FSD. It's something you really need to try in person to really understand the experience. It's one thing to see videos online, but it's a whole nother experience in person. So I think people just got to try it.
I was schlepping up the West Side Highway from the NYC to here today, and the guy next to me, we were in bumper-to-bumper traffic, was on his phone in a Tesla, no hands on the wheel, because the car was driving itself. And I have to say, I got a little jealous because I was both hands on the wheel. By the way, quickly, Beijing Auto Show going on right now. How worried, if at all, are you about all these cheap Chinese companies that may come in here, Sawyer?
Yeah, China is the most competitive EV market right now, but Tesla and BYD are really the only automakers making money on EVs. And, despite all the cheaper EVs launching, I suspect we'll see some consolidation in the market, which would help Tesla. And BYD has also shared that they have no short-term plans to enter the American market. So Tesla really doesn't have to worry about that too much. Tesla's brand is still really strong in China, and I suspect they'll do well in the years to come.
There you go. All right. So Sawyer Merritt, who I also got to meet at that Cybertruck event, on national television on CNBC. I'm so much happier seeing him on CNBC than I am seeing the other knuckleheads CNBC sometimes invites on to talk about Tesla and say dumb stuff. So hearing Sawyer say stuff like, it is a whole nother experience to sit in a Tesla on FSD instead of watching a video about it. Yeah, it is. It's different when you can feel the acceleration against your back as your FSD Tesla takes off, heading to wherever you said you wanted to go. So good stuff there from Sawyer. A lot of great points. Here's one from Drew Baglino, former Tesla employee, just left the company last week after 18 years of service, making him one of the longest tenured Tesla employees apart from Elon Musk himself. It's amazing and rewarding to watch the orders of magnitude scaling. I remember when the Tesla Energy team deployed our first 20 megawatts of grid scale storage in California for SCE at Aliso Canyon over Christmas 2017. 3+ orders of magnitude in 7 years. Wow. So good stuff there from Drew, who rarely tweets. So maybe we'll see him tweet more often. Here's another one from Brian, who is racking up the points now toward winning this week's James and Loki's Gems of the Week Gold Medal. I'm guessing the margin of error was plus or minus 4%. It's the only way these results make sense. Retweeting me, the votes are in, real Dan O'Dowd. Nobody's buying what you're selling. Better get used to that. With Who Believes Dan, less than 4%. I think it was 3.8%. Thought, yes, he's trustworthy after watching that video we saw earlier. Here's one from Arthur, Tesla FSD videos, at Arthur from X, an impressive example of how FSD 12.3.4 notices a police car stopped in the road ahead and plans for it by moving over a lane as it approaches. Incredibly smooth and human-like behavior. So good stuff there from Arthur. Here's one from Blue Herring, that's FDS. What's FDS? Well, the votes are in. He was answering no to try to answer it directly. DOD for Dan O'Dowd. I replied, once there's an ETA for licensing FSD, DOD's DOD contracts are going to be DOA PDQ. So that's for darn sure, Blue Herring replied. Here's one from Elon Musk. We believe version 12 is ready for supervised FSD in left-hand drive countries. Right-hand drive will take a bit longer. This is bullish for Tesla to be able to roll out FSD to more geographies. That is a condition under which Tesla will be able to declare significantly more deferred FSD revenue, as they have indicated they will in their investor letters and SEC filings. More geographies getting FSD means Tesla can declare more of the FSD sales they initially collected as having been earned, and therefore it's right to flow them through the income statement as revenue, since those promised features have been delivered. This day in Tesla Q history, the Corvette is still waiting at Xenomorpher 1 5 years ago. Let me get back out of here and click on the screenshot instead. Parody account. We'll go Corvette shopping after hashtag Tesla Q. We'll enjoy the ride. So hashtag Tesla Q used to mean the day Tesla goes bankrupt. After Tesla goes bankrupt. That's what they were calling themselves, the Tesla Q community. We're calling themselves the group of people who believe Tesla will go bankrupt. Here's the limiting factor at limiting the. FYI, the other voice in the earnings call talking about megapacks was Mike_megapack. Michael Snyder, Senior Director, Megapack. So, if you were wondering who that voice was talking about Megapack factory production, scaling, bottlenecks, etc., Mike Snyder is who was saying, nope, they feel really good about Megapack being able to scale further right away. Here's another one from the Shorts historian. Gonna frame this at NH Parks 5 years ago. Gonna frame this. Oh, yeah, so the stock did go down a lot between the time Elon tweeted considering going public at 420, funding secured, to April of the following year. And then it fell even further from here. You can see on the big chart, by June 3rd, it had bottomed. And it's been all up ever since. So if you ever see somebody talk about all gaps get filled, well, this gap still has not been filled. The one that went from, what is that, $60 to $100? No, Tesla has never revisited that gap up. Here's one from the accountant at CPA and NYC. Tesla employees must exercise within 3 months of exit. The cash to exercise, including tax burden, is so huge, almost all employees need to sell to obtain cash to buy and pay taxes. Hashtag Tesla, retweeting Neil X, who tweeted, this doesn't exactly give off left on good terms and believes in the future of the company vibes. Well, Tesla employees are not all made of money, so if you have to exercise your options within 3 months of leaving the company, and if you don't have giant piles of millions of dollars cash sitting around already, you have to sell some of your shares in order to be able to pay the taxes that you will owe on exercise of those tax options. The IRS wants their money right away. You are not allowed to wait until April 15th of the following year to pay them. If you're in if you're in the big leagues with your stock sales, there's a threshold beyond which your stock option exercise goes on to the IRS's radar, and they expect to get paid immediately. Here's one from Jan of the Universe at the EV Universe. Wow, what a great surprise. Thank you for sharing the work, James. Give a paw 5 to Loki from me. So I did. He's replying to this video that I recorded a little over a week ago and posted on April 26th about all the charts and tables he put together. Here's one from Don't Bet Against Elon at Steve Hamel, 16, who I met in Tampa once. How come a spacecraft built almost 50 years ago is able to get over-the-air software updates, yet most car companies still can't figure out how to do it? That's a great question. Yeah. I replied, possibly the only computer hardware made in the 1970s still being used by anyone. Nobody has to write software for hardware that was manufactured in the 1970s, except the people on the Voyager 1 team at NASA. They have to figure out how to send software updates to Voyager 1 when it encounters technical problems. So, good on them for continuing to send software updates wirelessly to a spacecraft 2 light days from Earth. It takes 46 hours at the speed of light for the software update to get to that spacecraft, and for any information coming back, it's a 4-day round trip at the speed of light. That's how far away Voyager 1 is. Here's one from Mark Anthony at Musk Stay Calm. Can you show me some love and help me reach 5 million impressions? So I did. Here's the guy I was talking about earlier who was so nice to me, chauffeuring me around Austin at the Cybertruck event. I was one of 70 people, myself and 69 others, and more than 420 people liked that tweet, helping him get more impressions. Here's one from Riku Matala. Rather poor situation awareness when a nurse sighs how the sun is shining out, but she's stuck in here. Ooh. Ooh, that is not what you want to hear when you've been paralyzed for 7 or 8 years, as Riku Matala has, with Lou Gehrig's disease, ALS. He tweets and communicates using eye movement, because his eyes are the only part of Riku Matala that still move. The rest of his body is completely paralyzed by ALS. So, yeah. Forstall said, LOL, no way. I covered this in a separate video, but I'll tell you what the context is here. It's Motorhead Brad Munkin stepping in it once again, saying B&W's 3 Series is in its 7th generation of refreshes. Well, guess what?
The Model 3 performance is spec-fucking-tacular. So,
Okay.
you heard it here first. The M3 has no reason to exist because the M3P is better.
Yeah, there you go. So Jason Camisa, very well-respected journalist. I think we saw him earlier in this video. I made a separate video about this, Who's Hating Art and Tesla Today, Duncan on Munkin. He said something about something or other. I said, you mean like when you warned people reading your dumb blog not to short Tesla in April until the day before earnings were released? He literally did. Here it is. I'm confident earnings will disappoint in Q1 and the rest of the year, so I plan to be short ahead of Q1 earnings results in late April, but I don't want to be short on April 2nd. When weak numbers have been this well flagged. So he told his followers to wait to short Tesla until the day before earnings. And this is what happened the day before earnings. That was the bottom. He called it 3 weeks ahead of time. LOL, no way from Forstall. Yeah, he called it to the day, 3 weeks ahead of time, by telling his followers, don't short it until the day before earnings. And then it was up $30 over the next 2 days. That's the worst. He's the worst. He's the worst investor I know of. Here's one from Martin Viecha. All recalls are not created equal. Time to rename software recalls to something like required software update. Yeah, that would be a great suggestion. Retweeting Sawyer Merritt here. Tesla only issued 13 recalls in the US in 2023, including physical and OTA recalls. Tesla's over-the-air recalls affected 2.1 million vehicles. Tesla's physical recalls affected just 21,455 vehicles, or about 1% of the total. And then you look at this table for all these other ones, Ford, Chrysler, BMW. Dozens of recalls each, with a large percentage of their total fleet getting recalled, millions of vehicles in many cases. All right. Next, a tweet from Car Dealership Guy. I test drove a Tesla with full self-driving for the first time ever. Very unique experience. Sort of felt like magic. Whoever successfully implements this kind of technology for every other automaker will build a gargantuan company. I know many are trying to do it, but will be interesting to see who actually gets it done. I encourage every person and car dealer out there to try out FSD if you haven't already. And he said, reminder, please disclose if you're short the stock before making comments. I replied, any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. Arthur C. Clarke, science fiction novelist from the 50s and 60s. What do we have here? It's Electric Cyber Farmer at Rensing on X, who just said boom with his Cybertruck here. I thought that was a good tweet, so I gave that one a like, along with 541 other folks. Here's one from Alexandra Mertz at Tesla Boomer Mama on X. Brad found some old ones. Well, you know, I'm going to love any meme made at the expense of the fraud hiding behind the fake name Brad Munkin. Yes, Tesla will go bankrupt because they couldn't do a full model change on their most profitable vehicles. That sounds like a sarcastic tweet that I might send, but no, it's a straightforward tweet sent earnestly by Brad Munkin on May 1st, 2019. Just a couple of days before the bottom in 2019, he tweeted, Tesla's stock price at half of its peak helps the probability that it will go bankrupt, is what he was telling his followers, you know, giving them more courage to short the stock at the time and get their faces ripped off on the ensuing rally. $1 billion is a big hit for a structurally bankrupt company like Tesla. The short sellers tried to make structurally bankrupt a thing, and when it didn't work, they tried structurally unprofitable for a while. Neither of those are real business terms. They're meaningless phrases invented by Tesla Q members. If you don't believe me, Google it and see how many hits you get for structurally bankrupt or structurally unprofitable. What they meant by that is Tesla can't make profits. There's no way Tesla can make profits. Their company isn't set up to be able to make profits. They can only make losses, is what that expression meant. Model 3 is going to bankrupt Tesla, he tweeted November 12th of 2020. If Tesla goes bankrupt or Elon gets imprisoned, can I drive it? Wow, $5 billion in cash is my estimate of Tesla's intra-quarter cash and equivalents. You're spot on, although we'll never know until they go bankrupt. Not if they go bankrupt. When? We'll never know until they go bankrupt. Funny stuff there. Here's one from Mrs. James Dalma. I'm never sure if I'm allowed to say her first name or not. I see the old Tesla is just like Enron chestnut is making the rounds again. Oh lordy. Yeah, that's just a funny standalone tweet. Yeah, people are trotting out the Enron comparisons again. Very funny. Here's a long post from Andrea S. James. I just want to do a time check. Since I'm over an hour already, I will not read you this whole long tweet reviewing FSD, but I will let you pause it and read through it because I liked this account of the good and the bad, the pros and the cons, the highlights and the lowlights of Andrea S. James's first experience with FSD v12. 4.3 or whatever she's got for the first time. So good stuff there. Here's another one from Steve Hamel. So if you drive a Tesla, you get acquitted of attempted triple murder instead of triple murder suicide in any other car. Not sure if this is funny, sad, or bullish. I think it's funny because none of these people actually died. But this guy had a psychotic episode, it says right here, and tried to murder his family and commit suicide at the same time. But even though his Tesla Model S, I think it was a Model S, fell 300 feet off a cliff and hit rocks, all of them lived. They all lived. They were all evacuated out by helicopter. Yeah. Amazing story there. Here's one from Mark Anthony. FSD is absolutely necessary at this point. I can't imagine driving without it. It's supervised, and I was watching the road closely while this was recording. So he's on a 1 hour drive. Just talking about how he likes FSD.
I have an hour plus drive this morning, so I'm so happy to have FSD. And
there you go. All right, that was a good enough clip from that video for me to play you real fast. As we hit the home stretch, here's one from Elon Musk that I like. Tesla will spend about $10 billion this year in combined training and inference AI, the latter being primarily in car. Any company not spending at this level and doing so efficiently cannot compete, once again showing Tesla is 7 or 8 years ahead of the competition. Remember, Tesla started putting the sensing hardware capable of full autonomy in cars in October of 2016. And here we are in 2024, and not one other automaker, to my knowledge, has enough camera hardware in their vehicles to be able to drive autonomously. And Tesla's already on to the next thing, which is the AI, the neural nets, the inference compute necessary to train FSD to be a superhuman driver. Here's one from Scott Palamas, and We Volunteer, and Henry James, and Caden Berman, all of whom I liked, replying to my meme. Who did this is a popular way of captioning a meme that you made yourself. You know perfectly well who made it. Following the old template, we have food at home. Me, Mom, can we have Cybertruck? Dong Fang, we have Cybertruck at home. Cybertruck at home. Here's the Dong Fang Cybertruck knockoff. Like, it's obvious they tried to make a Cybertruck, but I thought they failed badly enough that it would be meme-worthy in this template. So I sent that out. I don't even have 100 likes on this. I feel robbed. I thought that was a pretty good idea for a meme. Another one from First Principle Investor. Just so you guys know, the amount of people in China who know about FSD is probably higher than the number of people in North America. Americans rely on ads to stay informed, while the mainland Chinese are smart consumers and know where to find info. Despite countless FSD V12 videos flying around social media and YouTube, Americans are hopelessly ignorant about FSD supervised. The competition for autonomy in China is much more intense than the rest of the world. Hence, the consumers are very well informed and not easily fall for the level 3 bologna sandwich of Mercedes and whatnot. Once FSD beta is awakened, they will get hyped because they have been expecting it. Yeah, the Chinese consumers are very savvy. They place a high premium on imported technology that's worth it. If you've got the right technology at the right price, you can find buyers who want the swagger that comes with owning brands that are valued highly. And First Principle Investor is just telling us, hey, FSD is gonna work in China. People are going to want those features here. Here's one from Sawyer Merritt. Top Gear has released a new Cybertruck off-road video. Tesla gave them exclusive access to some new off-road features coming out soon. Top Gear crew, I'm so impressed with what we've been able to do with it. The punishment this thing can absorb, with a link to the full video, which I haven't watched yet, but looks like they had a lot of fun out in the desert badlands of wherever they are. Here's another one from Riku. New t-shirt. It says Couch Potato. It's awesome that Riku has maintained his sense of humor. You can't take a sense of humor away from somebody. Here's one from May Musk. This is so fantastic and fun. Congrats Tesla Club AT and the Tesla owners in numerous European countries on their originality and creativity. Tagging Tesla Europe and Elon with this light show featuring some modern takes on classical European composers, Beethoven and Mozart, I think. Who I heard here. I don't want to irritate YouTube by playing too much of that. Plus, that's the end of the video. We have reached the last tweet that I like this week. So with that, I will check back in with my co-host Loki, who is still curled up doing what he was doing when the video began. And I'll say thank you for supporting me. I appreciate your support, all of you. And a special shout out, as always, to my two executive producers, Kathy Kitchler and Rebellionaire.com. And I'll see you in the next one.